Welcome back to another episode of the Atlas Foundation podcast. My name is Emily, and I'm here again with Mike Moeller. And today we are going to be talking about early collaboration in projects, specifically with Deep Foundation projects. So, Mike, can you tell us a little bit about, or just kind of dive into the reasoning why um, getting involved early in a project is better?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, Emily. Yeah, it's nice to work with the design engineer through the early phases of the project, so that we can work through some of the problems that might come up during construction, and basically have solutions in mind, or engineer the problems out of the installation. An example of that is a, a job we did near Stillwater, Minnesota, where there was high bedrock. There were a limited number of soil borings taken, and there was extremely variable soil conditions where we had the potential to hit high bedrock, or on the other hand, um, go excessively deep where we had very soft soil conditions that extended down fairly deep. Um, so working with the design team um, allowed us to kind of look at what the potential was for those problems, and uh, try to kind of design out those, the potential um, problems as we kind of went along.
Sure. And that's a great example. What do you commonly see when you're asked to come in on a project maybe later after the design process? Is there, some negative side effects to that?
Well, definitely, because a lot of times it's almost too late for us to get involved, because um, the design team has already kind of worked through their design. They're reticent to come up with any changes. And a lot of times the contractor that's involved, uh, you know, basically has a contract to get the job done. And when he's struggling, um, this is typical of a job we did up by Superior, Minnesota, where there were some tiebacks going in. The contractor could not develop the load capacity that was required on the job, and I was asked to come in and try to come up with a solution. Well, the solution to me was obvious, because I had um, worked that all out, um, beforehand when I was estimating the job. The problem is you've got a different contractor involved, and um, you've got conflicts there. Then when I explain what I had for a solution, it obviously cost more than what the contract um, entity had in mind. So he doesn't have the money for the real solution that would work, and he doesn't have the expertise to do the things that I suggest. So you're basically at a stalemate. You got a problem that can't be resolved. You got an owner that can't get his project completed, and nobody's got the money for changes, and it just becomes a big issue.
Sure. So when you are involved in a project early on in the design process, what kind of characteristics or specifics do or does Atlas bring to the table specifically?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of times there's variable soil conditions. Um, there's issues um, with the installation, perhaps boulders, or um, heavy soil conditions that make installation tricky. Um, there can be all kinds of things that come up that uh, are tough to handle when you're not prepared for those kind of things and you don't have the experience to um, come up with the options to solve the problem.
Sure. And can you maybe just talk a little bit about the aspect of Atlas having in-house engineering, and how that kind of plays a role into that design process as well?
Sure, that helps a lot because um, we can basically take the structural engineer's design and provide the loads that he's looking for, and we can stamp our design, and so so that makes everybody happy. The structural engineer's got a solution that solves his problem. We've got a design that will work in the field, and we can, when we hit the job, we can process the job completion, from beginning to end without any hiccups. And if there are any things that come up, we have the capability to basically engineer solutions almost right on the spot, and solve issues that come up without any delay to the project schedule.
Sure. Okay. And I know you kind of touched on some examples earlier, but is there a project, without naming specifics, of course, but that really stands out to you where Atlas was brought in early in the process and and just being brought in early really made the difference for that project?
Yeah, there's a few that come to mind. One of them was a car dealer over in, I think it was Oakdale, where um, the site actually was an old concrete dump, and so we were able to, approach the job with some ideas on how we would solve the installation problems, getting the helical piers in around obstructions, buried concrete, that type of thing. So um, knowing um, more information about the site helped us to um, complete the job to everybody's satisfaction.
Sure. And is there a project that comes to mind where the opposite was true, where you weren't involved in the design process and were brought in later, and there were, things that happened because of that?
Yeah, there's quite a few projects I can think of where um, the project didn't turn out well because, again, you have um, the project awarded to the low bidder, and the low bidder didn't have the capability to um, basically solve issues that came up as the project was going on, like the tieback job up in near Superior there, where the soil was basically so soft that developing the required capacities on the tiebacks was a challenge. And um, obviously, the low bidder was not uh, capable of handling things to get the job completed satisfactorily. So
Sure. And then for any potential clients or anything that may be watching or listening, what would be how would somebody go about engaging Atlas early, and what does that process look like?
well, um, since Atlas Foundation Company does all types of deep foundations, we're more than willing to work with conceptual drawings or design development drawings, to work with the structural engineer to come up with a more feasible approach to guarantee that his load capacities are achieved on the job. So, and it's the 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 cool thing is it doesn't really cost anymore. So it's kind of a service that we offer, and so it leads more easily to a kind of a win-win situation.
Perfect. Well, awesome. Well, that is all that we have for this episode. Feel free to find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and also our website at atlasfoundation.com. Until next time, I'm Emily.
And I'm Mike.
Have a good day. Thanks.